the Midnight Librarian. In a quiet, sleepy town stood an old ivy-covered library that had been closed for as long as anyone could remember.
The townsfolk avoided it, whispering tales of eerie lights flickering in the windows at night and the sound of pages turning when nobody was inside.
They called it the Midnight Library, and while it fascinated many, nobody dared to go near it after dusk. One stormy evening, Caroline, an eager young writer seeking inspiration, took the challenge.
Armed with my notebook and a heavy flashlight, I decided to spend a night in the Midnight Library, convinced it was nothing more than the town's overactive imagination. I wanted to uncover the truth behind the ancient building's creepy tales.
As she stepped through the creaky wooden doors, a chill ran down her spine. The heavy scent of old books and dust filled the air. Caroline's flashlight beam flickered across the shelves, revealing endless rows of books, some so old their titles could no longer be read.
I settled at a large oak table in the center of the library and started jotting down notes, the silence only interrupted by the occasional rumble of thunder from the storm outside. Hours passed, and nothing unusual happened. Feeling slightly disappointed, I began to pack up my things.
Just as she stood to leave, the grandfather clock by the entrance struck midnight. The sound echoed ominously through the vast room. She froze. From the corner of her eye, she saw a faint, shadowy figure moving between the shelves.
Trying to stay calm, I pointed my flashlight in that direction, but the beam seemed to be swallowed by the darkness. Then came the whispering, soft, indistinguishable murmurs coming from all directions. The whispering grew louder, more insistent, and then abruptly stopped.
With a sudden burst, the library was filled with ghostly light, illuminating an ethereal figure standing at the end of the aisle. It was an old librarian, her translucent form gliding silently over the worn wooden floor. She wore a long, tattered dress, and her eyes were hollow voids of dark emptiness. In her hands, she held an ancient leather-bound book.
Why are you here?
I'm just here to write, to find inspiration.
The librarian's expression softened, but only slightly.
You seek stories? Here, we have many, but they come at a price.
Curiosity overpowered Caroline's fear.
What price?
The librarian opened the book she held, and spectral images floated out of it, depicting horrifying scenes. People trapped within the pages, their faces twisted in eternal anguish.
Many have come seeking knowledge and stories. They now reside within these books. Each one is a tale of their torment. If you stay, you will join them.
Panic gripped Caroline, but her feet felt rooted to the spot as if controlled by some sinister force. The librarian extended the book toward her, and Caroline could see her own reflection on its cover, her face already beginning to distort in agony. With all her strength, Caroline tore her gaze away and bolted for the door. The whispers crescendoed, filling her mind with terrifying visions. She reached the door and stumbled into the stormy night. As she glanced back, she saw the ghostly librarian watching her, an eerie smile playing on her lips. Caroline never returned to the Midnight Library. She warned everyone to stay away, her own story now a living testament to its dark legacy.
And at midnight, the townsfolk still hear whispers on the wind, telling them to come and search for their own stories in the Forbidden Library.
Those who ignore the warnings find themselves forever bound in its haunted pages, their tales of woe added to the Midnight Librarian's collection.